In this short video, we're going to look at what InDesign does. We'll ask the question, what is InDesign? And then we'll look at how InDesign creates digital publishing as well as print-based publishing. We'll ask the question, what does InDesign look like, and investigate the interface. And then we'll get started with InDesign.
The purpose of this video is to empower educators who have little or no experience at using InDesign. With some fundamental InDesign skills, you'll soon be able to start engaging with your students and InDesign, fostering creativity in the classroom. So what can InDesign do? Well, its roots come from the print design industry. As such, it's perfect for magazine design. Here we can see a front cover of a magazine which has been laid out using InDesign. InDesign allows you to place images and text side by side to create pleasing aesthetic designs. We can also use InDesign to create the pages inside the magazine as well. This is commonly referred to as a double page spread, or DPS for short. And of course, other print publications can be created as well, such as newspapers, leaflets, letterheads, business cards, and those sorts of things. More recently, InDesign has been able to publish digitally to tablets, and this is one of the newer features that's available in it. Now let's take a look at what InDesign actually looks like. Here we are in InDesign, and as you can see, down the left-hand side of the interface, we see that there is a toolbar. This allows us to switch between tools easily. Some of the tools have little triangles in the bottom right-hand corner. Clicking and holding down the mouse on one of these tools shows a flyout menu. This then enables us to select other tools that may be similar to the one that's already shown. Further down we can see that there are also options that show us what kind of colours are being used. Colours are usually used for a fill, the inside of something, and a stroke, a line that goes around the edge. There are options here to apply colours and gradients or nothing at all to the things that we might have on the screen. Along the top is a context-sensitive menu. So if I switch to the text tool, we can see that all the options here refer to this type. We can change typeface, we can change the size, we can change the way it looks. If I switch to the rectangle tool, we can see that the options change again. So this changes really depending on the type of tool that we've got down the side here. Now along the top, we've also got some other options. One particular one is view options. So we can see here that we can see our rulers, which are these elements along the top, guides, smart guides, baseline grid, things like that. Things that will help us actually in the document to make the layout. Over on this side, we can see that there is a mode menu. At the moment, it's set to the Essentials mode. This is a great starting place. When you get more used to using InDesign, you will see that there is advanced modes, digital publishing, which will allow you to publish to tablets, and features that will allow you to do interactive options for PDFs. For now, let's stick to the Essentials. Finally, on the right-hand side is another set of panels. Clicking on the two arrows will force the panels to fill the screen down this right-hand side. Now we're going to take a look at how we can begin using InDesign. When we first launch InDesign, we're presented with a window which asks us what we want to do. Since we haven't used InDesign before, there's nothing recent over here. But we're going to create a new document. When we click on this, we get a new document window. And there are quite a lot of options in here, so let's get through them as quickly as we can. Now our intent is to print. We're going to create a print publication. There are others here as well, and yes, you can change them later on, so don't worry too much about that. Facing pages just means that if we're going to do spreads later on, double page spreads, having them side by side, we're going to have pages that face each other. The page size is self-explanatory. We're going to choose A4. Number of columns means that we're going to get some guides in here to help us lay our content out. Now I want to have 3 columns of text, so I'll place that in there. I also want my space between my columns, which is the gutter, to be 6mm. Margins refers to the margins around the outside of the document. I'm going to make that 15mm, and if I hit the tab key, it will change to all of them because they're locked here. Let's click OK. So the next thing that we're most likely want to do in order to start using InDesign is to be able to add text. So we go over to the type tool, click on here, and I'm going to click and hold and drag, and you can see that what I get is a text box. Now I could start just typing into here and it would work. But usually when we're working on magazines or newspapers or anything really that we're designing with, that's already been done before, usually by writers. So let's get rid of that and see how we can import into here. So we could go to File and Place. And as you can see, the text has filled this column. But we can also see that there's actually more text than we've got on display here. And the reason we know that, let me zoom in, and I'm pressing Command and plus to zoom in on my keyboard, and that would be Control and plus on a PC. We can see they've got this little box highlighted. It's a red square with a plus in the center of it. And what that means is that there's more text available, but it's just not visible because we've run out of room here. So what we can do is go ahead and back into the type tool and create another text box next to this. And if I click this red box here, you can see that my cursor has now changed. I'll go inside this box and click again. And once again, I've got the text in there. So I will add another final text box in this column. I click on the icon and then it goes in. So we can see that we've got our text in place there. So to resize any of these columns, we just click on them and we can drag up and down and do changes with them like that. So another thing that we might want to do is add an image. And the easiest way to add an image is really to place it inside a frame. Now frames can be a rectangle frame, but if we click and hold, we can also see that there are different shape frames that we can have to hold our images. So I'm going to add a rectangle here. I'm going to do File, Place, and add an image. Easy way to get the image to fit, if I zoom out, we can see that the actual image itself, by this brown line that's around the edge here, is bigger than what we have. So we go to Object, Fitting, and Fit Content Proportionally. And then we can see it fits the entire image inside of this. If we wanted it to fill the frame, we go again to that, Object, Fitting, and then Film Frame Proportionally. And so we're losing a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom, but on the whole, we've got it looking pretty good. If we wanted to change the color of our text, there's an easy way to do that. I can click on my box over here, zoom in slightly, and click on my type tool. I could highlight any particular words that I want to change color, and then I can select a color from over in my swatches. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is to go to my color panel, click the options, choose CMYK, which means I will have a color mode of cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. And I can play around with the color bars here until I find the color that I want. If I want to save that color, maybe I want to use that exact same color again. It's a little bit complicated to keep doing this all the time. So what I'd do is I'd add a new swatch, and then I can see the swatches available here as a shortcut for my color. One final way of grabbing color is to click on this eyedropper tool and select the color directly from an image. Let's add another image to this document. We're going to go to the rectangle tool, click and hold it, and choose the ellipse tool. And I'm going to draw an ellipse just over here on the pasteboard. And I go to File, Place, add my image in there, and whenever I put my cursor over the center of the image itself, I can click and hold and move it. So what I'm actually going to try and do is move it over here so that I get the statue. Okay, now if you wanted to resize this image, you don't have to create a new frame again and pop that in there. What we can do instead is hold down Shift, hold down Command simultaneously, then click in the corner here and drag. And as we drag, we can see we can scale up and down the image. Now that works with text boxes as well. So it's a useful way to scale something up and down quickly. I'm going to drop this into this column over here, or in between the columns, and what I'd really like is for the text to flow around this image instead of going underneath it like it currently does. So go to Window and Text Wrap, and if I click this option here, which is Wrap Around the Bounding Box, we can see that the text wraps around this square area here, the bounding box, but if I click the next one along, it wraps around the actual object of the shape. Now, as you can see, the text is very close to the edge here, so we want to leave maybe a 2mm gap there. So if we add a 2mm gap, we can see that that works perfectly. Let's finally take a quick look at how we create a new page. So we've got the Pages panel over here. It's very simple. Just click this option here and it creates us a new page. If we need to go back to the other page, we can just double click over here in the panel and we go back again. To summarize what we've learnt in this tutorial, we've first of all learned how to create a document, how to set the document up with the right size paper, and to add columns to that. We added text to the page. We also used text boxes and we linked the text between those text boxes. We added images to the page. We learnt how to change the colour of our text. We added swatches and we also sampled colours from an image. We scaled an object. In this case, we scaled an image up and down. We added an image into the middle of some text and we made that text flow around the image. And we also saw how to add a new page. With these initial tips, you can immediately start using InDesign and engaging your students creating exciting magazine and newspaper designs.
So in this video, Mark has shown us some of the key tools, but we've also covered quite a bit. We've looked at what actually InDesign does. We've looked at and talked about what InDesign is. We touched on the fact that InDesign is good for print, but also good for digital publishing. We looked at the interface, and then we showed how we would get started in a classroom situation with InDesign.